As much as we talk about self-mastery, sovereignty, meaning, we also talk about money. I'm a big fan of weaponizing my money for good. And the only way you can get money to weaponize it for good is to know how to get the number one thing you need, which is attention. So before you actually gain currency, money, the second highest form of currency is attention. Like, how can you get the attention of the people who need to buy your product or service? Because if your product or service solves a problem, that's great. And if you're like, man, I'm the best at solving this problem, even better. But if no one has heard about your product or service, then what good is it? And you're broke and you're not making any money, and your competitors that have a lesser product or service are actually doing better than you simply because they figured out how to get the attention that you should be getting. So I want to share that with you guys here and now. If you find yourself hard selling in your business, meaning like you're trying to really close people really hard and pushing them to buy your product, it's because you've done a poor job building your brand and marketing your product or service. Because if you've done a great job building your personal brand and marketing your product or service, the sale should be a byproduct of that. You have to understand that everything you do to get and keep clients is marketing. And when we say marketing, that can be interchanged with lead generation, prospecting. Now, more often than not, most people think that marketing is a byproduct of, well, I'm posting stuff on social media. Man, I'm posting content on Instagram. Well, that's great, but that's actually one pole in the water out of 5 poles that exist. And I'm going to share what those poles are with you later on, like those 5 different marketing, real legitimate lead generation strategies that exist. Many of you, probably 80% of you, are only doing one of those things, which is posting content on social media. But even then, the content you're posting is probably repelling. And in fact, it's probably conditioning them to do something very bad, which is you're creating an anti-sales process. Let me talk to you about that real quick. Any great human who inspires, motivates, and is focused on helping humanity become better, if that human has a product or a service, I think he or she has the obligation and duty to sell that. But here's what happens. When you are out there posting content, great content on a consistent basis for a long enough period without ever asking for the sale, without ever moving people towards a marketing funnel, opportunity, conversation, then what you're doing is you're conditioning your audience to only be a consumer of content and not a consumer of your product or service. It is your fault for not selling soon enough, not putting his products out there, not being proud of his products, and not being evangelical about his products. And because of that, he conditioned hundreds of thousands of people to just consume his content without ever consuming, purchasing, or engaging of his products and services, right? Like, that's unfortunate. And I don't want that to happen to you guys. And I see so many of you out there doing that. Well, I'm just going to good content out. I'm gonna keep pumping out great content. Okay, great. Guess what you're doing? You're literally conditioning your audience not to buy from you. And if you want to be the anti-sales organization in your company, well, that's great. You can do that and be broke, but I'm here to teach you guys how to make money. If you are not making money, then why are you in business? You can go get a job. You can go have a career and actually work 9 to 5 and probably make more money than you are as an entrepreneur who's just struggling, putzing along and getting by and acting as the anti-sales department in your own organization. So now that you understand the value of what we're talking about, and before I dive into the 5 actual marketing strategies that I want to share with you, you first have to understand that it all starts with your product. Whatever it is, product or service, it doesn't matter. The product must be a 10 out of 10. If your product is not good, in other words, if you are promising a unicorn but delivering a donkey with your product, then what you're doing is you are literally repelling future customers, because each unhappy customer goes out and tells 11 others to not buy your product or service. That's just how it is. Your product has to be a 10 out of 10, because in a sea of competition, like, what differentiates you? How are you different? How are you better? How does your product exceed what everything else out there claims to do just as well? And if you have a great or different point of differentiation, you can stand out. You begin to create what's known as a blue ocean, right? Instead of a red ocean. What is a red ocean? By the way, there's a great book out there called Blue Ocean Strategies. If you're an entrepreneur, go get it, go read it. Because in Blue Ocean Strategies, you're going to learn that if you can differentiate your product, maybe it's a little different, maybe the market that it serves is different, maybe the way it's delivered is different, but if you can differentiate your product enough where it doesn't do exactly what the competition does, you're no longer in bloody waters, red oceans, you are in blue oceans, right? You are like in a sea where there's not much competition, and that's what you want. And so knowing that, once you have a product that's a 10 out of 10, you move on to the next step. You have to make the the irresistible offer. Hey guys, quick interruption to the Bedros Keuilian show. I want to remind you about the Keuilian Wellness Shot. I created the Keuilian Wellness Shot because I wanted a product that was going to help you boost your immune system and fight off inflammation in your gut, in your joints, in your body, so that you are healthy, you don't get sick, and you live an awesome life. Keuilian Wellness Shots have these 9 ingredients that are going to absolutely help fight off inflammation and boost your immune system. Vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, ginger, turmeric, echinacea, B12, cayenne pepper, and black pepper. And every single packet is checked for heavy metals because our ingredients are top quality and we use nothing but top quality because we cut no corners. So you can use my name, Bedros, at Keuilian.com and get 50% off your Keuilian Tribe subscription. You not only get 50% off your first order, you also get free shipping. You get a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee, so that if you don't like the product for some reason, which we have yet to meet anyone who don't like the product, we will give you your money back, no questions asked, and we will shake hands and part ways as friends. And of course, $1 of every order goes to Shriners Children's Hospital, which is a hospital system that I've been helping and supporting for over 12 years. They provide medical procedures, medical services, surgeries to children whose families can't afford these procedures. So go to Keuilian.com, use code word Bedros, join the Keuilian Tribe. You get 50% off your first order and then 20% off your recurring monthly orders after that. Back to the show. What the irresistible offer is this. First off, the offer has to be so good that they want to buy it, right? In other words, the offer has to be too good not to buy. And how do you do that? Well, the value, the perceived value of the product must be higher than the actual price of it, than the actual cost of it, right? So let's say you have a product and you're like, hey, this is a problem that it solves, and here's how quickly it solves it, and the problem never comes back again. And people are like, holy crap, I love this. This is fantastic. I've got this problem. I want to solve this problem, and I never want this problem to come back. And oh, by the way, the problem is easier to solve with my product. Holy crap. Now in your head, you're like, oh my God, I would pay like $1,000 for this thing, right? Let's say the problem is so severe that you would pay $1,000. Now imagine then if the offer was the product is only $250, right? The value, the perceived value that you have of $1,000 product or service that's going to solve your problem, that $1,000 you're willing to pay for, or the price tag that you would put on it, all of a sudden it's like, wow, that's $250. I'd pay $250 for that all day long. It's a no-brainer. It's too stupid not to pass up, right? Why would you pass that offer up, right? So number one, the product has to be so good that the value exceeds the price. Thing number one. Thing number two, what bonuses can you add to it, right? What bonuses can you add that increase the value perception? And oftentimes that can maybe even make the product better, more done for you. Maybe the product works faster with this bonus. Maybe it's a tutorial course. So now we know that the value must be higher than the price. Thing number one. The bonuses must have a higher perceived value than the product itself. Thing number two. And then, are you ready for this? You got to have some kind of a risk reversal, a money back guarantee. Like, what can you do to have a guarantee? You could have a conditional guarantee. A conditional guarantee could be, when you buy my service or buy my product, do this, that, and the other. And if you do this, that, and the other, and you still don't get the results that you want, we'll keep working with you until you do. Or we'll give you your money back if you met these conditions. But you've got to have some kind of risk reversal. Because think about this. The world we live in now, people know that there's shitty products. In every industry where there's a product or a service, there are shitty products. And it doesn't matter from real estate to supplements to apparel to shoes. There are shitty companies or shitty companies that have great products but horrible service. And so people want to know that, hey, if this doesn't work out, I don't want to be left in the dark with losing money. I want to get my money back, and I want to be in a position where I can send the product back and say, you know what, it didn't fit, or it wasn't right for me, or it didn't meet the promise that you guys made. And so once you have the irresistible offer, guys, now you're at a place where you can deploy your marketing. And this part's very important, because if you don't have a 10 out of 10 product, and if you haven't built out the irresistible offer for that product, meaning making it so good that they can't say, like, there's no way they would say no to it, right? What's the point of marketing? But I want you to look at marketing as branding and driving leads, right? Attracting leads. Well, what do you mean branding, B? Like, why do I need a brand? I'm not a celebrity. I know you're not, but all of us, if you have any kind of social fingerprint, you're already branding yourself, period. So let's start there. If you have a Instagram, a YouTube channel, a TikTok, a Facebook account, a LinkedIn account, you're already branding yourself. The thing is, if you are putting content out inconsistently, if your content is crap, if it's hit and miss, if you change topics and ideas, you flip-flop between industries, what you're saying about yourself is that you are inconsistent and unreliable. So understand, branding you're already doing, just how you've branded yourself probably doesn't make sense right now. And how you need to brand yourself needs to align with your product. I brand myself and then I sell my products and services. Because if you trust me, if you know I have the best of intentions, if you know that I show up congruently, authentically, openly, honestly, as me, as a human who wants to serve you, we put the show out for free at no cost to you, simply because I want to give, come with the giving hand. I want to fill up the Goodwill bank account. I want to leave my fingerprint on humanity, on the people that I serve, right? And oh, by the way, if I have a product or service, I've got a duty and an obligation, if I believe in my product or service, to talk about it, to share it, to ask you to try it, to buy it. So now let's talk about the 5 marketing strategies. Now that you know all this stuff, okay, I've got a great product, it's a 10 out of 10. I know what the irresistible offer looks like. He just gave me an example of it. What do I do next? Next thing you do is you start thinking of the 5 different strategies I'm gonna share with you here. If you're like, man, look, I can't run ads. I don't have the money to run ads. Okay, well, that's just one of those 5 things. There's already people that you know. Think of all the people in your contact list on your phone. Like, I would start there. There's people that you know already have some level of rapport with you, the know, like, and trust factor. And so if they already have the know, like, and trust factor, then dummy, doesn't it make sense that you reach out to them? Yes. You're going to have to be inefficient and do it manually yourself, but it costs you nothing other than time. And God knows you have time if you're a one-man or a one-woman show. So why not? The next level is OPP, other people's platforms. This could mean people like affiliates. There are people out there that have a massive following, and all they do is they put out good content. Maybe they have an email list of like 500,000 or 100,000 or 50,000. Maybe they have a social media account, like an Instagram account, like those, I think there's one called Men's Humor that's got like a couple million subscribers, and they just put up funny shit on Instagram. But then every now and again, I see them promoting something like a back shaver for men. Like, you are going to have to see ads on those platforms. Well, odds are people are paying them for ads. So other people's platforms, there's affiliates who will use a link, an affiliate link that's customized, and mail out on your behalf, take a commission of the sale that they make for you, right? The only time they get paid is when they actually make the sale for you. Affiliates are OPP, other people's platforms, because there's a whole bunch of potential customers on someone else's email list or social media account. There's also part of OPP, you have stages. Are you great at speaking on a topic? Are you knowledgeable on a very specific topic? Are there events dedicated to that topic or that genre? Can you find your way to speaking on stage? You're like, yeah, I could be a paid speaker. Forget it. Forget about you being a paid speaker. We're not interested in you being a paid speaker right now. You might have to go speak for free. If you got the right audience, and it's like 500 people in your industry who would need to be exposed to your product, knowing that if some of those people saw your product or service, they'd be like, I didn't know this product existed. Wouldn't it make sense for you to pay to get up on that stage? I would pay to get up on that stage. I would say, listen, can I be the host, the MC? I'll come and be an MC for free. And all I ask is that twice during the 2 days, I talk about my product or service. Like, there's so many things. That's OPP, other people's platforms, as a stage. Other people's platforms is a podcast or a YouTube show. Like, what can you do to get on a podcast or a YouTube show, or to get your product on the podcast or a YouTube show to get a shout out? That might be a pay for play model. That might be you sending enough of your product or services out there until one of them uses it and goes, huh, this wellness shot is really delicious. I think I'm going to use it. You have to understand that there are ways to get on OPP, affiliates, stages, podcasts, YouTube shows, a million ways to do it. That's OPP, other people's platforms. Poll number 3, which I think is a cool one, and I think you guys all do it already, is content. The only thing I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to lean on you on this, is when you're putting out content, make sure the content is quality content that's put out consistently, that speaks to the actual value that the product solves, right? Like the problem that the product solves and the value that it has in compared to the money. Great content is important, but your content must talk about the values of the product itself, the problem that it solves. Now that we've talked about the 3rd funnel, which is content, let's talk about the 4th funnel, which is what? Paid leads. Be willing to invest in ads, but the only way you can invest in ads is if you're selling your product. All the other ways that I talked about, you're actually able to generate a positive ROI, return on investment, investment. If you don't have a positive return on investment, meaning if you're spending $100 on the product itself, but then when you go to sell it, you're making $300 back, right? Which means you have $200 profits. Cool. Now I could spend $100 of that $200 to run Facebook ads, to run Instagram ads, YouTube, Google ads. I can pay to get shout outs on different podcasts and YouTube shows. Those are paid ads as well, right? Sponsors, right? Sponsorship. I can pay influencers. Those are paid ads. Think about all the different ways you can pay for leads. If someone's got your audience, how can I get them, incentivize them financially to send traffic my way, to talk about my product or service in a positive way? Those are all paid advertising. And the fifth and final way that you guys forget about is to turn your customers into evangelical referral sources. And this is the number one thing, by the way, that you guys need to be doing. And the reason I share this with you is because the number one source of your new customers is not referrals. You're running a shitty business. If you are not getting enough referrals, if the number one source of leads in your business is not through word of mouth, if people aren't evangelical about your product or service, they're not giving you enough referrals, it's because you have not made it a condition of doing business with you. And those leads are warm, they're easier to close, the sale is easier to make if they're referrals, number one. It costs you nothing. Right? It costs you nothing. And those clients and customers usually buy your most premium product because they came through a source that they already know, like, and trust. So once you know your metrics, you go, holy shit, I can give commissions. I can give a flat fee, but I can now scale. So you can scale OPP, other people's platforms, as a marketing system. You can scale your ads by running ads on different platforms and spending more dollars to get your ads in front of more people. You can obviously, reach out to more people that you know and then incentivize your customers to really tell their people, their followers, their friends about your product. Maybe you want to offer a commission. Maybe you want to offer a bonus shirt or a bonus packet of wellness shots or whatever. But understand that everything here we talked about is scalable. So as long as you can have enough product in the queue or service that you can handle, this is how you break into multiple 7 figures, 8 figures, and develop into a 9-figure organization. Every single business out there can break into multiple 7 figures, 8 figures, even 9 figures if you understand the economies of scale and how marketing and branding works. And so when you build your personal brand, when you have a great product, you have an irresistible offer, and then you deploy these 5 marketing poles into the water, you become an unstoppable business.